us to help build up the networks Captain Morgan across a number of different sort of social entities. So today we're looking into this idea of how we take social a bit further for Diageo. So rather than just sort of flinging up a Facebook page and seeing what happens, how can social work within a larger brand campaign? And in the context that we're actually part of a much bigger engine now, how do we go about reporting the results of that brand campaign back to the company? It's all well and good, saying, yeah, we generate a load of likes, but actually, we want to get towards a much harder metric that we can start to talk to business about. So that's kind of what I'm here to talk about today. But before I go into that, I think it's probably time to introduce the captain and give you a little bit of an idea of the brand.
Thanks, Maurice. So Captain Morgan Original Spice Gold, you guys in the UK probably know it well as Morgan Spiced. It's been growing pretty fast over the last couple of years. It's been the fastest premium spirit brand over the last 2 years, and it's the 6th largest spirit globally. We sell a lot of rum, as you can see, and our business is skewed towards the US. So we're the 3rd largest spirit in the US, and number 2 bar behind Jack Daniels and Coke. We focused our social energies, I guess, within Facebook. Firstly, the scale, and we've talked about the scale earlier, but also it allows us to market responsibly. We age-gate whoever comes into our fan page or pages, and we also are able to stop content going to consumers who are under legal purchasing age. We do take responsible marketing seriously, Diageo generally, and social allows us to do it even more so, but it's a very big part of how we run our business. So, what is our winning formula? Well, we understand our consumer very well in terms of offline and online behaviours. We put into the mix our legendary mix, which is Captain Morgan Spice Gold and Cola. And we're fortunate that we've got this icon of the brand, Captain Morgan, based on the real person, Sir Henry Morgan, who was knighted in the Kangaroo of Jamaica. He is the voice of the brand, and I should really hand it to him to explain how Captain does social media.
So the point about the captain is he's really a way of bringing the brand to life. So from a social perspective, it's really great to have such an amazing asset to work with. So instead of us having essentially a logo that we've got to try and make social, we've very much got this guy, the captain, this obedient character at the heart of the campaign. And his whole process around sort of creating legendary times for our consumers. So when we put together a campaign, we really try and reflect that legendary element of the captain's personality within it. But it's all that said, all that good stuff. There are some other interesting issues we tackle. So Element Digital, like a whole bundle of agencies, we go around reporting social to our clients in terms of engagement, sentiment, growth, likes, all that sort of good stuff. All interesting. I'm not doing those things down, but what about when we really have to report those things back to a very sales-oriented business? And I sort of giggled as I wrote that because I wasn't sure really what other kind of businesses there were. I think people kind of like sales. But when we're doing social stuff, there comes a point where Diageo and any other clients come to us and say, okay, cool, you've done that engagement, but how much rum have you guys sold for us this week? And that's really what we're trying to get to with this campaign we've been working on. So we've got this concept of these sort of soft benefits, and we've been working for years with Diageo reporting these with some success. But also there's these hard benefits, and technology and social are actually now getting to a point where we can start to actually analyse and report those things back to the client. So what we're trying to work towards is generally our KPIs, and I think the same is true of a load of other agencies, tend to be on this side of the equation. But actually, now we can really get towards scoring some points in the hard metrics, and I'll take you through the campaign now to show how we're doing that. So the campaign we've been running, and actually we are still running, this is sort of fresh meat as it were, this is a live campaign that you can go and play around on Facebook at the moment. It's called The Captain's Island, and we created this campaign to allow people to actually win a week on this amazing island in the Caribbean, the home of the captain. And the way we're asking people to do that is by participating in these sort of legendary challenges on Facebook, collecting these keys and unlocking their way to actually get access to the island. So, okay, so far so unremarkable. Perhaps we've come up with a lovely creative concept. We've we turned up the client who said, hey, you know, let's have a Facebook app, that's a good idea. Let's run some ads, TV, some PR, you know, very unremarkable at this stage. And we presented this back to the client, there it is. And Mark actually came back to me and said, you know, this is all great, this is like a fun campaign, this looks like it's going to be a blast, it's very on brand, but you know, is there a bit missing in this? You know, how can you guys go away and actually integrate that product into what you're doing as well? And so we sort of ran off with that challenge, and it was a real sort of penny drop moment for us actually, because the product, the Captain Morgan product, was actually suddenly this enormous channel that actually, you know, we weren't using, we're overlooked to some extent. And I think from a marketeer's perspective, there's this knee-jerk thing where you immediately go, yeah, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. And actually, the world's bigger than that, the social world is bigger than that. And suddenly we realised that actually the product was a key in unlocking the social. So we went about giving consumers the ability to actually collect the keys via the bottles. So as well as being able to do challenges on Facebook, they were able to go out into the real world and find the key through the product. So, okay, cool, we created a fun little bit of interaction there, but what's kind of interesting about this is through actually expanding into the real world, we realised that we were unlocking a mechanic to allow people to actually go out and interact with the product, and then allow us to actually understand how they've done that, and then to be able to report that value back to the client. So actually this challenge which came from just integrating the product actually has really come down to create a mechanic where actually we no longer have to hide behind those soft metrics. We can start to move towards metrics which are really around some hard stuff around sales. So this is how the campaign evolved. So again, you can see it sort of evolves to a much more sort of 360 beast, I suppose, where we're actually integrating the keys, the ability to find the keys both on the bottles and also in bars in markets around the world. This campaign is running in 14 markets around the world. So basically, as well as products, we've also been able to take that same creative experience into bars. So on that basis, let me introduce you to Captain's Island.
Sign up for a legendary island adventure.
Okay, so you know we've got around to creating this cool concept, these cool concepts, these advertising elements that we've done for them as well. A load of sort of great PR and content collateral to actually drive discussion within social networks. But really, the meat of it behind the scenes is actually how we integrate with POS and the product. So just before I get into this, I don't want to sit here and sort of claim to be the first guy to put a Facebook logo on a product in a supermarket. You know, that has been done. But I think what we've really done here is been able to actually take the creative concept and really weave it into the product in a social way. So it's not just that, it's not just a logo on the bottom. And I think we've been able to do that actually with Diageo, I think, because to an extent the relationship we fostered. I mean, Diageo have been amazing in terms of giving us as a social agency access to these assets in the product that actually as an agency you don't always get the access to. You know, it's difficult to rebrand a load of bottles and get them into stores. That's how it worked. But actually, this is something we work together to be able to do. So I think it's certainly quite unique in that respect. So we've been able to do that with the product. We've been able to do that in bars. In Diageo, essentially partners around the world where you can actually go to a bar and collect the keys as well. And we've also used the same concept with keys to be able to give those to influencers online. So here's the Facebook application. Again, you've seen Facebook apps before. But this is kind of where it gets interesting. You know, the actual integration of the product is absolutely creatively consistent with what we've done online and really allows us to weave the product into the social campaign but without too much of a bump. It doesn't feel like we're foisting this product on people. And actually, one thing we were very keen to ensure we did was we didn't want to, and indeed, we didn't want to actually force people to go and get the product. What we found is actually you could collect 5 keys online, or actually you could go out into the real world and collect a key from the Captain Morgan product. We didn't require people to do that. A, we didn't want to. B, the responsible drinking, absolutely, we stand by those things and we don't be pushing that sort of thing. But interestingly, what's happened is as well as people collecting keys on Facebook, we found in enormous numbers they've actually gone out into the real world and taken social action through collecting keys on the product. We've used the same sort of mechanics in bars as well, and this is an area where, obviously a huge outlet for Diageo. They're an interesting conundrum in a way because, there are bars all over the world, 14 markets, hundreds, thousands of bars. How on earth do you get a view on how those channels are actually participating, particularly with a social campaign? So by using the same mechanic, we've been able to take this into bars as well. Give these cards to bartenders, allow them to give those out to their clientele, and allow their clientele to reclaim keys through the Facebook application through their interaction in the bar. Now, of course, what we're able to do behind the scenes there is we're able to get some really interesting metrics there about volumes of people who have interacted at events, purchased the product, and also explicitly where they've done that. Now, that's sort of granularity, but we're not just talking volumes, we're talking about markets, outlets. It's very, very detailed, the extent to which we can now go back and report the business. I think the other point to say about the bartenders thing is actually, and again, this is where you automatically, I think maybe Facebook stops you thinking about social. The social in the wider context, actually, it's not just the consumer necessarily. What we've got is we've got people in bars, we've got guys who are essentially advocates for a product, retailing our product. Actually, what we can do is we can use this deep ability to track to actually incentivise those guys in a social competition as well. So this is a really sort of deep bit of integration that we've been able to do both with our retailers at bars, but also with our consumers on Facebook. And I think the last part of that is also I suppose influencers online. So what we'll be able to do is use the same key mechanic to be able to go out to other websites and say, hi guys, we're going to see this exclusive key with you. So we're giving them a bit of capital to their side, a bit of a reason to drive traffic to it. But again, importantly, what we're doing is the deep level tracking we put into it has allowed us to actually understand which are the influencers that are actually working for us. So I think this is to the earlier point about how do we know who is actually influencing, who's doing the do. This really allows us to do that, and it also gives us an outlet to tune the campaign as we go along. We can engage with more influencers, we can share more keys, and really get an understanding of how that influence is actually impacting the campaign, and then ultimately impacting on sales. So, at the risk of trumpet blowing, the campaign can be pretty legendary. It's still going on and it's still going up. I think to exemplify this, what I've done is created a graph with some straight lines and then some lines going up very sharply. That's how you know it's a success. So this is actually the Argentina Facebook results. So literally from an engagement perspective, it's been enormous. Literally hundreds of thousands of likes. From a pure social perspective, it's been an amazing campaign just to report back to clients. If we were just reporting on the soft metrics, I'll be trotting at the client with a happy look on my face and hopefully likewise. So just from a purely soft metrics point of view, it's been absolutely cracking. But also, we've had some great fun along the way. What we've had is actually people trading these keys in eBay even. So there's actually become this enormous social swell around this idea of sharing these keys. So again, it's taking that offline product and making it something tangible in the digital world. But of course, there's this question now of, that's the question I posed at the start. Can that engagement actually drive sales? Can it drive those harder outcomes? And what we've done here is we've created a mechanic to actually change just the engagement numbers into numbers that we can actually report back to the client in terms of actual sales or what we've run. Now, I've got to be genuinely coy about it because it's still sort of in progress, but those, I may be able to tell you guys one-to-one offers, but those are some significant numbers that we've been able to demonstrate in terms of interactions in Facebook leading to actual product integration, both in the product and also in the market. But just for those paying attention, I think there's sort of one unanswered question there, which is, okay, is this engagement driving the product, which is great, that's kind of social media goal, that's what we want to get to, or is this product driving driving people into Facebook. So, even if you can prove that link, there's a sort of causation question there still. So, which of those two is it? And to an extent, we don't care. Well, we do a bit, I suppose. So, both of these things have got a significant benefit for the business. So, in one model, what we've got is we've got people walking into a shop, buying a product, or going to a bar and buying a product, and giving them a mechanism through which they can actually join our CRM, I suppose, Facebook. So what we're doing in one instance is we're creating a mechanic whereby the people who would have just walked out of the shop and maybe we've had an ongoing conversation with them have actually come into opted into our network, and we're now having a topic on which we can talk to the customer about. So instead of losing them, we've now got them into our records and people to talk to. But also this one, which is, I think, certainly from my perspective, more interesting as an agency guy, is instead of saying to the client, yeah, we got you a few 100,000 likes, happy days, actually what I've now got is I've got some metrics where I can go back to the client and describe to them exactly how my engagement on Facebook has driven actual sales of their product. And I think that's a much more interesting place to get to, and certainly something that we're working towards in all of our campaigns, both this and beyond. And I think if you can put together a model that brings those two together, then actually you're creating a virtuous circle, driving people into that CRM, giving them a reason to engage and a reason to buy. You're starting to get to a much more interesting topic to be able to report back to the client. So there we go. We've kind of added to our list, I suppose. We've taken all that good engagement stuff that we're all used to talking about, and actually added some real hard metrics onto the bottom of those. So I suppose as the sun sets, what have we learned here today? I think for us, realising that social just goes beyond Facebook. Actually, when we're designing our campaigns, let's stop just thinking about Facebook or just thinking about mobile. I think there's this concept where you're all users, right? We don't necessarily draw a mental line between what we do on Facebook and what we do in the real world. Where people, whether they're interacting there or in the real world. So actually, when we're designing campaigns, let's just try to think in that same way of actually breaking that boundary between the digital and to the real world. And I think importantly, if we can think in that way, and we can design the technology and design campaigns in that way, then actually what we do is we get towards a much more interesting way to report those results back to our clients. So, thank you. See you on the island, I guess. Questions?
Yeah, what are some of the ways that people could get keys online?
So as I said, the captain's all about sort of legendary times. So part of what we'd do is we'd challenge people to create these sort of amazing captainized pictures of themselves. So they can sort of dress themselves like the captain's regalia and share those pictures. And that's a mechanic it's the old photo sharing mechanic. It's something we've used in previous campaigns for the captain. It's particularly predicated around giving the user something interesting, something immersive from a brand perspective. But also, I suppose, the Machiavellian part of that is what you're doing is you're creating an exciting asset that user goes on to share. So in previous years, we've used that same sort of mechanic to prove back to the client amplification, showing how we create content, we drive it through social networks, and we drive increased throughput back to the apps and back to the groups. So that's something we've sort of been doing traditionally, trying to create these legendary challenges, which also actually have this amplification bit woven into what they're doing.
Hi, just a quick question. Your first slide used the phrase social embassies.
Yes.
I like that a lot. How would you explain it?
So social embassies are kind of this little spot. So I don't know whether you've all seen these Venn diagrams, which you've got owned channels and earned channels and so on. And I think what I mean by embassies are kind of these spots that sit somewhere in between, I suppose. So it's your Facebooks, it's your YouTubes, it's your Twitters and so on. So this one's very, very focused around Facebook and YouTube in this instance. But I think to that aspect, to that point, I think that was, like I was saying, a penny drop thing, where we realised that actually this is less an embassy, just more an own channel, but actually had this other embassy in the product that we just hadn't really thought about in that way before. So I think that was just really interesting.
Behind the scenes, how
Yes.
do you moderate Facebook pages? How do you make sure that inappropriate comments are removed or inappropriate photos don't get published, etc.?
Moderation is a key part of the day-to-day, if you like. We have moderation agencies who post moderate off the wall, with Facebook specifically. Anything where a user is creating content, we have to pre-moderate. So nothing goes back out into the web until it's been approved from a responsible marketing point of view. We have our own code, which we self-regulate. So we're moderating daily and we're pre-moderating any content that a user creates.
And are you just using native Facebook tools to do that?
As I said, we employ a moderation agency globally. We moderate each of our pages daily. We set ourselves our own guidelines. We have to moderate at least once every 24 hours. Remove any comments, any content that breaks our code, and make sure that we are adhering to our, as I said, our self-regulated marketing.
And also, yeah, and so some of that is through Facebook, Facebook tools, and also some of it is through additional technology in the back end of the application as well.
Have you found that TV ads really effective by driving traffic to Facebook, or it's more the Facebook ads or things online that you've made?
I think we haven't had that discussion. I'll chuck out my thought on it. I mean, with respect to TV, you know, we've got the TV stuff. It's beautiful quality stuff they've been putting out. For me, the driver of the I think is probably Facebook advertising.
Yeah.
Now I think there's, you know, it's a little bit hard to say because, like I said, you know, causality between TV and the app interactions is slightly grayer. But I think if we can reframe the question, you know, if you said to me, would you rather cut out the TV or the Facebook ads? It'd probably be TV.
To be clear, the role of TV wasn't to drive participation or to drive people into the app. That was actually doing a brand job for it more generally. I think each channel within the whole mix had a very clear role, and TV was around brand equity and sort of supporting what we call our key brand benefit, rather than driving participation, because we made the assumption it's quite a low number that actually drive from TV into Facebook. Well, that assumption's wrong.
Hi, just another question in relation to moderation. You said you pre-moderate everything. Would that be removing someone saying something negative about the brand or something, sort of customer feedback? And I just wonder if there's a sense that this space belongs to that community, and if only things that are very positive about the brand are being allowed out there, does that reflect badly upon you?
No, that's a good question. We have clear guidelines. It's not about removing negative comment about the brand. It's more around removing comments where swear words are using or things against competitors, for instance. So we have clear guidelines. It's not about taking away all the bad stuff. If there's any negative, we need actually, because as you probably know, if you remove or create more negative comment because it's being moderated. We are clear though, when you hit Facebook, there's a landing page that talks about what we're moderating. You have to go to a certain age, obviously, this is our legal coaching age. So we try and be transparent. We are going to moderate the page and try and leave a freedom of conversation, but we have to make sure we do regulate where needed.
And I think to Devin's earlier question about the embassies, where just from an agency perspective, we're quite sort of vigorous about them. You know, we look at these embassies, you know, they're half ours, half the users, and I think there's this concept of, you know, you don't want to go about advising people to just stand there and kick them out and annoy you or have an opinion. You know, we don't turn someone's volume down at dinner party when you don't agree with them. So I think, you know, where it's stuff that's sort of within our sort of self-policing marketing code, you know, if someone's got an opinion, that's, you know, that comes on, they'll share it. And that's that.
That's just one last question, I think.
Considering age restrictions, did you consider using Twitter or Foursquare or any platforms that don't really have that filter on it? And if so, how?
It goes back to our responsible marketing code, to be honest. Facebook is one social platform that you are asked a age of your date of birth when you sign up for it. And so we were able to age gate based on that. Unfortunately, Twitter doesn't have the same profile or the same functionality in its profile. So we focus our energies on a platform where we can do responsible marketing, which is Facebook. We may use the likes of Twitter and YouTube we've used for media and advertising. But we only place advertising in a media site that has over 70% audience over legal coaching age. So again, there's quite a lot of restrictions in terms of where we can activate. But Facebook's one platform, if you like, that is we're able to do that in a responsible manner.
Thanks, guys.